very good afternoon to all the members connected with us once again. So we are going to start with the session. And the session for today is developing creativity. So I am Amandeep Kaur, assistant professor in the Department of Education and Education Management, is going to deliver this topic for all of you. So during the discussion, during the delivery, if you have any question, you are requested to kindly unmute and ask. And even you can write in the chat box, and your questions will be answered at the end of the session. So, dear participants, when it comes to the development of different managerial skills, along with the different 6 C's, it's the 7 C that is essential. So, this is creativity. It is essential for the leaders of any organization of or institute not only to recognize creativity, but at the same time, after recognizing that creativity, use that creativity for the development of that organization. Excuse me. So, keeping this in mind, in the first phase of this particular session, we are going to develop the concept of creativity, what we mean by creativity, and how we are able to identify a creative personality available in an institute or in an organization. And as a head of department or as a senior professor of that particular department, how it is possible for you to enhance and develop creativity not only among the faculty members but also the students of your department. So, when it comes to the creativity, any individual from this particular group who would like to define creativity for all of us? What do you understand by creativity? Any member from the group? Yes, any member from the group who would like to define creativity? What we mean by creativity?
Hello,
Yes, sir.
ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you and all the secretary. And basically, I think creativity can be defined as something using something new idea, a new thought, using new thought, new ideas is creativity.
Thank you very much, Amritesh, sir. So another member's written in the chat box that exhibiting individual ideas, and Umang Thakkar sir said the ability to make or otherwise bring into existence something new. So thank you very much for the insights provided by 3 of the participants in this group. So yes, very rightly added by all of you. When it comes to the creativity, creativity is the generation of new ideas, or if we are able to develop an association or develop an existence of the already available information with us, it means we are able to identify the relationship and association between the existing ideas and existing concept. So when it comes to the generation of a new idea, so maybe that particular idea is new for an organization. That idea may be used by the different organizations in the different part of the world, but for your organization, if you're able to do something new in your organization, able to design something new, able to create something new with the existing resources, that is creative act for all of you. So when we are saying creativity in simple terms, creativity is the act of making something new. Say for example, when we said association or relationship between different ideas, so as far as we as faculty members are concerned, we are from the technical community. So in a technical community, when some design related problem given to us, there are specific assumptions that we all take. So as per the standards of that particular problem, we certainly make few of the assumptions that help us to restructure the problem, and in another sense that help us to reframe that particular problem and understand that particular problem. Only then it is possible for us to solve a critical problem at hand. So it doesn't mean that we are discovering something new in science and technology, or we are finding out a new solution for the problem given to us. The information, the expertise is already available with the faculty member. When a new problem is given to you, you will identify the problem, restructure that particular problem, understand that problem, and find out the association and existence that all available in the information of that particular area, and we are able to solve that problem. So that is also a creative act. So it is not always that something new is being generated that is novel by sense. If you're doing something for the very first time in your life with the kind of expertise you are able to develop, you are creative by nature. So creativity is a mental process that involves the generation of new ideas or concept or new association of the creative mind between existing ideas and existing concept. So next question arises: what is the difference between innovation and creativity? Yes, any member from the group? What is the difference between innovation and creativity? So when it comes to the innovation, innovation is basically used in a business word. So with the help of that creative idea, if I'm able to do, or if I'm able to generate something profitable, so it means with the help of that creative idea, if I'm able to add something more valuable and able to increase the efficiency of a process or a product, that is innovation. So these kind of ideas or these kind of creative existence help us to grow our business. So innovation is a term that is used in a business environment. So in this particular session, we are faculty members are from the technical institution. So it is essential for us to understand what we mean by creativity in engineering. So when it comes to the creativity in engineering education, basically it is the ability to challenge assumptions, break down boundaries, recognize patterns, see in new ways, make new connection, take risk, and seize upon the chance while dealing with a problem. So as far as engineering problems are concerned, or the field of specializations are concerned, the technologies advances on day-to-day basis. So when we are saying there are technological advances, it means there are certain problems that came in existence for the very first time, and we are here to solve those problems. So, in the definition, in the very first slide, when we covered the definition of creativity, it is the new association of the creative mind between existing ideas and concept. So, as a teacher, as a member of that particular community, how you are able to develop your knowledge pool, how you are able to develop your expertise that help you break down the boundaries, and you are able to take certain assumption. You are able to identify that what is essential and what is required to solve a problem at hand, and after collecting all that information, you are able to develop new relationship between the existing information. So sometimes as an engineering population or as a member of that particular community, we also take risk. So there may be no standard rule or standard formula available with me to solve a problem or to remove a design related issue in my project. I will take risk, identify few of the alternatives and options, apply, and able to solve a given problem. So in engineering, when it comes to the creativity, if we are able to take challenges, if we are able to break down the boundaries and take certain assumption, it is possible for us to do something creative. So why we are discussing creativity in engineering? So as a head of department or as a senior member of that particular department, when it comes to train other faculty members and train the students of your department in terms of creativity, you need to identify that as per the delivery of the curriculum in your department, what are the different activities, what are the different tasks that is being designed by the teacher and provided to the student. The way the teacher designing different statements, the way the teacher is designing the classes that is full of activities where students can interact with the material, students can interact with the information at hand, and an environment where students can ask question freely and they are able to interact with each other, whether it's a faculty of that particular department or the student. So if they are able to interact with each other, able to share information with each other, it is possible for us to develop creativity at departmental level. So for engineering education, specifically for the faculty and for the student, as a head of department or the senior member of that particular department, we need to observe, we need to make a record that what kind of activities, what kind of task is being provided to the student, and how the teachers are challenging the students to solve those problems. So that is why we are able, that is how we are able to develop creativity at institute level. Another term that need to be known by all of us is serendipity. So when it comes to the serendipity, the literal meaning of this particular word is fortunate happenstance. So serendipity means there are few accidental discoveries that is available in our literature, and we need to identify those serendipity discoveries in our surroundings also. But the question arises, how I am able to develop creativity with the help of these serendipity discovery, or when we give these kind of illustrations to our student and give or use these kind of examples in for our classroom students, how the students are able to develop creativity. So when it comes to the serendipity discovery, it may be a penicillin ring, a benzene ring, it may be penicillin, it may be the discovery of microwave, it may be the discovery of quicker oats. So when you give these kind of illustration or these kind of examples to your faculty and students in your department, they come to know that creativity is, creativity can be developed or creativity can be inherited. But at the same time, if as a teacher or if as a student we are able to, a slide is not moving, so we are on the same, I hope all are able to see the PowerPoint presentation. I hope the slide is available with all of you. Yes, any member from the group, I hope the PowerPoint presentation is available with all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
So when it comes to the serendipity, or we give these kind of illustration and discuss these kind of discoveries in our department, we come to know that expertise can be inherited or expertise can be developed in terms of creativity. So when we said fortunate happenstance, and you see number of examples in this particular field, those individuals are subconsciously working on the problem, they are collecting information, they are developing knowledge in that particular domain, and with the help of that knowledge, with the help of their observation, they are able to identify the fortunate discovery that is happening in their surrounding environment. So when we said the fortunate happenstance or pleasant surprise, so benzene ring, penicillin, microwave, quicker oats, so these are not the fortunate discoveries that is happening. Those individuals are working, those individuals are developing knowledge in that particular field, they are developing their expertise in that particular area. So they are able to identify the discoveries that is happening in their surrounding environment. So when it comes to the serendipity, how your students or faculty members are observing their surroundings, what is new, what is changing, what is the need of education today, how we are able to develop expertise in our faculty member, what kind of professional training, what kind of in-house training is essential for the faculty member to develop the develop the creativity up to certain extent, how we can develop, how the department can grow, what are the different kind of ideas we can generate. This all will happen when we become aware of our surrounding environment. What are the government policies, what is happening in the nearby institution, what is happening at global level in terms of education, how the students are going to be placed, how the students are going to be absorbed by the world of work after the formal education. So these are the kind of observation that as a departmental head or as a departmental faculty we need to have, that help us to develop a creative potential, or that help us to develop and generate number of ideas at department departmental level. If you're not aware of that what is happening in industry, what is happening at institute level in terms of common policies and demands, we are not able to do something new while working in that particular department. So observation of your surrounding is essential when you want to do something new in your department, or you want your faculty members to show the level of excellence in terms of creativity. So new assignments, new tasks, new activities need to be there in the department. A simple example can be, it may be an interaction with an outside expert, it may be a field visit in a laboratory, in a research laboratory, or in an industry, it may be a lecture organized at institute level, or a seminar activity attended by the faculty members of that particular department. So all these activities help us to become aware of our surrounding and ultimately develop our observation skill. The next thing that we need to identify is to know is what we mean by creativity. So creativity can be identified at four different levels. One is the product, second is the environment, third one is the personality, and fourth one is the process. So when we set a creative product, say for example, the faculty members are going to give a project related problem to your student, and that project identification, problem identification is happened at departmental level. So now a team of faculty member need to identify that what kind of projects our students need to do, in terms of major activities or in terms of minor project activity, what kind of product we need to develop at institute level so that they are able to enhance their skills and capability. So when we are saying the project related problem, students are going to identify a problem. It means observation, it means knowledge, it means expertise need to be available at departmental level. Only then, with the help of guidance from the faculty or under the supervision of the faculty, students are able to design certain products. So when we are saying creativity is the generation of new ideas, generation of new ideas will occur when we are in the process of reframing a problem or framing a problem. The problem can be structured, the problem can be ill structured. So it is the teacher who is going to define the problem and decide that what kind of creative product as per the branch of specialization my students are able to create while working under our supervision. So one example is, so when it comes to a product can be a prototype model, product can be a design on a paper, but it must be new, it must be useful, it must be original, and it must be surprising. So one example, as far as the product is concerned, this particular product is designed by Yunken, South Korea, a first year student from engineering education. So this case study is available on internet also. So the student identified the problem after observing the surroundings only. And in an interview, he said, whenever we eat bread at the picnic, in the cafe, or in the airplane, we usually use disposable butter. I replace this ordinary container lid with a wooden knife shaped one. This way, the butter can be easily and quickly spread. And he also given four different flavors which allow the users to make a choice, just as he would choose his favorite ice cream. This container is not only easy and fast to use, but also it make our daily routine of spreading butter more fun and exciting. So customer satisfaction along with the waste disposal is going to be minimized, and the student is able to replace the lid of the container by wooden shaped knife structure. So this is the kind of product, or this is the kind of problem the student is able to identify from the surrounding. After identifying the problem from the surrounding, the student develop an creative idea that what we can add new, or how we can modify this existing product to do something new. So he added few dimensions in the already existed product and do something creative while working on a project activity. So this is an example of a product the student is able to design at institute level. It may be a small product, but once we motivate our students to perform this the kind of activities over the time, when their knowledge and expertise develop, they are able to generate more bigger ideas. The second kind of creativity or the kind of environment that we need to identify and create at institute level is the environment that focus on what kind of surrounding encourage or restrict creativity. So when a teacher said creativity means the generation of new ideas, we at the same time need to think about how many times in my class my students were able to create ideas, my students were able to discuss ideas, and my students are able to evaluate the acceptance of that particular idea. So this is the kind of environment, the learning environment the teacher need to create at institute level. How many brainstorming session is being conducted by the department within a semester? How many sessions related to case study analysis? What are the different techniques used by the teacher to teach the students of that particular department? What kind of professional training given to the faculty members so that they can use advanced pedagogical approaches where students are able to interact with the content? They are not memorizing information, but they are interacting with the information to develop their understanding so that they can generate ideas. The point of discussion is what kind of environment is prevailing at institute level. How many times the head of department or senior professor of that particular department reward or recognizing the faculty members who are doing commendable jobs. So that is the kind of environment at institute level we need to create. So when we said in creative environment, that kind of environment where openness, flexibility, autonomy is there, the members are able to generate new ideas. So these conditions need to be provided by the department or by the organization. The third most requirement for the identification of creativity is the personality. So personality is focusing upon the personal abilities that characterize a creative person. So if there are, say for example, a hypothetical case, say for example, there are 4 to 5 faculty members in your department, and there are 2 faculty members who are very happy when they are doing research based activity. So maybe they are more interested in the development of instructional material or the development of different research articles or research paper. They are very happy when they are into the assignment for writing a project proposal, submitting to an organization, and then complete that project as per provided by that particular firm or particular organization. There may be another 2 faculty members who are very happy when they teach student, when they specifically interact with the student. They are very happy in classroom planning and delivery kind of activity. They are very happy when the student come to them, discuss about their problems, whether personal or professional. So they want to be good mentor, they want to be good guides, they want to be counselor of the student. There may be another faculty who is very happy when an unique assignment is given to that particular candidate to complete based on reward or recognition available in the department. So if there are 4 or 5 faculty members in your department, they may have different kind of personal abilities, they may have different kind of personality characteristics. Same the students of the class, there may be students who are introvert by nature, there may be students who are extrovert by nature, there may be students who are intrinsically motivated, there may be students who are passionate about doing something just for the sake of reward or recognition. So when we said developing creativity, we need to know what kind of personality existed in that particular environment and how we can cater the needs of those personalities. So that need to be identified by the department. Next is the process, focusing on how creative solutions are produced. So there are number of institutions and number of universities nowadays, those created a beautiful structures. They call it as innovation hub, they call it as a discussion room, they named it as or labeled it as design studios. But we need to find out that just by developing infrastructure doesn't mean the students are able to find something new in that particular department. How you are training to your student, what kind of flexibility or what kind of autonomy you are going to give to your faculty members so that they can do something new while working within that particular institution, depending upon the kind of facilities provided by the institute. So when it comes to focusing on how creative solutions are produced, so maybe at institute level there must be a policy design which help you identify the creative abilities available in a particular personality, and how you are able to give reward and recognition to those individuals, either faculty members or student, those who are doing something new, those who are proposing something new, finding out the solutions of that particular problem. So the process that need to be defined at institute level or at departmental level that help you to develop creativity at institute level. So these are few of the examples that have been provided by me. Now, my request to the members available with us in this particular group, as per your perception or as per your opinion, is it possible for us to develop creativity at departmental level? If yes, what are the strategies a department need to adopt to develop creativity? Any member from the group, you can take 2 to 3 minutes, and after that we will start discussion on this topic. How at departmental level we can develop creativity among individuals. Yes, any member. Is it possible for us to develop creativity at departmental level? Thank you very much, Sir Dr. Ahmad, sir. So, as an individual, what are the different strategies adopted by you organizing various activities? Thank you very much, Vanita ma'am. Yes, any member from the group? Through communication, act on good ideas. Thank you very much for your information. Practice, discover quality in quantity, look for the ordinary, collaborate with other, experiment with different styles, have confidence, give your brain a refresh. So thank you very much, Umang sir, for the insights provided by you. So rightly added by all of you that it is possible for us to develop creativity at institute level. It is possible for all of us to develop creativity at institute level. So there may be many activities that we will be able to organize. So as added by one of the participants, by collaborating with each other. Collaboration means collaboration and cooperation help us to develop a creative environment. So when a knowledge pool is being developed at institute level with the help of cooperation and collaboration, it is possible for us to identify the problems from the surrounding and proposing new solutions for this particular problem. So creativity can be developed if we are able to create an environment that is flexible enough and that encourage creativity. If we are able to identify the personalities, like when you said cooperation and collaboration, how the group forms, what are the group norms, how the teams or how the communities developed at departmental level or at institute level. So for example, there are 3 to 4 faculty member in a team where a task is being assigned by the head of department, and out of those 4 faculty members, two knows that the whole responsibility or the activity need to be completed by us. Two of the faculty members are not going to provide any input. It means when the group was formed or the collaboration started, we need to identify that what kind of personalities can work together and what is the nature of activity that we need to give to them for finding a solution. So personality traits also need to be identified at institute level or at departmental level. process, what are the kind of, if there is a flexibility in timing, the kind of infrastructure facilities provided to the institution faculty as well as to the student, the kind of freedom provided to the faculty member to take out new problems and find out the solutions of that problem, the seed money or the financial support will be provided by the department or by the institute, it is possible for us to go through the whole process of creativity. So it is not only the internal motivation that is acting, but at the same time the kind of additional support or extra requirement that is fulfilled by the department. So it may be in the form of seed money, it may be in the form of reward and recognition, it may be in terms of flexibility in working hour, it may be the academic freedom that is provided to the faculty and to the students. So all these processes help us to develop creative potential among faculty as well as among students. So these are the four different traits that we need to know when it comes to the identification and development of creativity at institute level. So as we earlier discussed, when we it comes to creativity engineering, it means we are able to transcend ideas, rules, patterns, and relationship, and we are able to create meaningful new ideas, form, methods, and interpretation. But the question arises every time when we discuss about creativity, we said creativity is the act of doing something new, but at the same time we need to consider the creativity involves the combination of originality and task appropriateness. But how can something be original and at the same time conform to a set of task requirements? Say for example, let's take an example of a project work again. Say for example, if the project is very unique by nature, if the project is very creative, but it is not possible for the group of the student to complete that project within the academic guidelines. Say a 6 month period is given to the group of the student to complete that project as far as the academic criteria is defined, but the project is unique by nature, and as a department you know that that project is very innovative and very new. So how can we judge and evaluate the creativity in line with the academic guidelines available at department? Second is not originality sufficient for something to be judged as creative? So at departmental level we need to define that it is the problem identification itself that is very unique by nature, and with your expertise you are able to know that it is possible for the group of the student to complete that task or complete that project activity, condition the time provided them extra by the department. So that also need to be find out by the department, that is not originality sufficient for something to be judged as creative, why must it also be a task appropriateness? So why every time we need to go by the academic criteria or by the academic calendar only? Is there any new routine or is there any new policy that at this department we can finalize and given flexibility to the student to complete objective maybe one or two, and it will be considered as a final project from the group of the student? So when it comes to a creativity, it need time. When it comes to do something creative, it need an additional effort to be put in by the faculty and by the student. So when we want for the department to do something creative, maybe it's a faculty or maybe it's the student working on a given assignment, there are certain guidelines or policies need to be designed at departmental level. So that kind of flexibility need to be there to enhance the level of creativity at institute level. So that will solve our problem. Another important thing that we need to consider is, as per the model of creativity, 4C model of creativity, it is being said all are creative to some extent, and at the same time, the literature support that we are able to develop creativity among individuals with the help of formal education and training. The question is, the condition is that the department is able to identify the personality of that particular individual. So when we said all are creative to some extent, and in this model they divided creativity up to four different level, that is mini C level, little c level, pro C, and big C level. So when we said I'm able to do something new in my life for the very first time, so that is a creative act for me. That may not be creativity for another individual, but since I'm doing it for the very first time in my life, that is my creative ability or my creative potential. And once I'm able to do something new for the very first time, that helped me to develop or that helped me change my understanding. So I will be more confident, I will be more able to do more meaningful interpretation of that activity and work. So that level of creativity is considered as mini C level. Next is little C level. So little C level means I'm influenced enough. So at mini C level, when I perform something for the very first time in my life, I develop on confidence. I experience something, and now I'm confident enough to perform that activity again and again. And every time when I practice this particular activity, that helped me to sharpen my skill. So that is the little C level of creation. So this level of creation impact on individuals and their zone of influence. We become more confident, we become more aware of that particular problem and able to give more creative solution. And once after a formal education and professional training, when we are dealing with the same or similar kind of a problem, we become expert in that particular area. So when we become particular expert in that particular area, it is possible for us to give more relevant and more appropriate solution for the problem with the kind of resources available with us. So that is the pro C level of creativity. So we are able to develop association and relationship between the existing information. So when I'm saying association and relationships, take an example that you are doing something for the very first time and there was an error. So after identifying the error, next time when you're performing the same or similar kind of an activity, you develop in your mind that if I'm following these steps, there will be a generation of an error. So I need to follow a different kind of approach. So that is with the help of kind of experiences we are able to get, uh, the kind of formal education and training we are able to get. So we are able to solve problem in a more creative manner after the formal education. So it will impact on an organization, field, system of practice or market environment. Fourth level of creation is the big C level of creation. So there are very few individual globally who can approach up to this level of creativity. So these are the personality characteristics of those particular individuals: their passion, their motivation to do something with perfection and excellence. So big C level of creation is available in very few individuals, but those individuals are able to change the cultural norms and the boundaries, uh, change the societal norms in the world. So these are the four different levels of creativity. So we all are creative. Some are creative up to mini C level, some are creative up to pro C level. And if creativity is inherited, one can be able to achieve the level of big C also. Another important thing that we need to consider when it comes to the development of creativity at institute level is what are the different components of creativity. So when we said what are the different components of creativity, we already discussed these components. So my request to the faculty members in this particular group, any one of you able to identify what are the essential components that we need to consider when it comes to the development of creativity? One component was available on your screen, that is expertise. What are the other components that need to be the part of your organization environment? So any member from the group? So, as per your opinion, what are the different components of creativity that we need to develop at departmental level? Yes, any member from the group? Motivation. Harika said motivation. Thank you very much, ma'am. Knowledge, imagination, attitude, resources, and habitat. So, thank you very much, Amang sir. So, when it comes to the component of creativity, rightly added by Amang sir, that the very first factor that we need to consider is knowledge or expertise. So, knowledge in many forms, it is not only the cognitive ability, but at the same time, how you are responding or reacting to a different situations and what kind of psychomotor skills you are able to develop. So, knowledge required in three different domains of education, that is cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. Specifically, for a technical community, we need to develop knowledge of different forms that may be technical by nature, it may be procedural, or it may be intellectual. Means your IQ ability need to be high so that you are able to identify problem and able to solve problem. Kla ma'am said motivation, so very rightly added by you also. So, motivation is of two different types. One is the intrinsic motivation, and another is extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation always increases your performance in terms of creativity. So, you are passionate about the problem at hand. You want to solve the problem, you want to tackle, or you want to take it as a challenge as far as the problem is concerned. So you are collecting information, you are developing your expertise because you are passionate enough to solve a problem at hand. So that kind of motivation or that kind of ability in an individual help him or her to provide more creative solution. Another kind of motivation that help us to find out creative solution may be reward and recognition. So when it comes to the reward and recognition, up to certain extent that help us to increase the creativity if rules for creative performance are known. So for reward and recognition system, so in the last slide when I said it may be a seed bank created at institute level, or it may be flexibility in terms of material uses given to the members of the department, it is the form of reward and recognition only. So this kind of creative potential will be there as far as reward and recognition system is associated with it. If rule for creative performance are not known, then extrinsic motivators are not able to provide creative solutions for the problem at hand. Say for example, you are working in a department since long, and you know that despite of working very hard, there is no reward or recognition from the department. So ultimately the faculty and students of that particular department stop showing their creative potential or stop performing certain activities. So we are inhibiting the creative performance because no reward and recognition was associated with it. But at the same time, those individuals are able to develop their profile because they are passionate enough to take challenging jobs, and they are passionate enough to complete certain difficult activities. So this is how we are going to impact the motivation, or we are going to affect the creative ability of the individuals working under our supervision. So at departmental level, if there is some policy of reward and recognition, that need to be streamlined enough so that there is a continuous process of recognition that is happening at departmental level and all are willing to perform. There may be very few individuals who are intrinsically motivators, but for those individuals also at departmental level, we need to create an environment where flexibility in terms of assignment is there. So motivation is a second essential element that we need to consider after expertise. And third component of creativity is the creative thinking ability. Creative thinking ability means refer to how flexibility and imaginatively the people approach problems and tasks. So there may be many examples in your surrounding. There may be individuals when a certain problem came, they are not frustrated or they are not furious. They are able to frame that problem, they are able to break down that problem and able to provide solution to that particular problem. They are not agitated with that particular challenge. There may be individuals that when they are in the routine activity and some new assignment or new activity or a problem is new, they feel bit irritated or frustrated. So creative thinking skills means how you approach those problems. What is your reaction for that particular problem? What kind of response you are able to develop in that particular environment? How flexibly or how imaginably you are able to solve a problem at hand. So that is the creative thinking skill that we need to develop, and there are two different type of thinking skills that we need to consider. One is the convergent thinking skill and another is the divergent thinking skill. Convergent thinking skills apply to the problem, that is original, diverse and elaborate ideas, whereas divergent thinking skill means for a given problem there may be multiple solutions. So convergent thinking we apply when there is a problem and for that particular problem there is a fixed solution. So for example, a numerical problem is given to the student and that problem is very good structured or framed, and when student read that particular statement, student knows that from this particular topic I'm able to apply my learning and solve that particular problem. So there is a fixed solution that the student is able to identify. Divergent thinking may be for a given or for a complex engineering problem there may be multiple solutions, there may be multiple alternatives. So how you are collecting that information, how fluent you are, what kind of adaptability of yours towards the environmental need, how originally you are able to generate new ideas, how can you elaborate that particular statement, so that help you to define the problem. So what kind of thinking skills required for the development of creative ability? So both abilities are required for the creative output. So when it comes to the divergent thinking, it is essential to the novelty of creative products, whereas convergent thinking is fundamental to the appropriateness. So at institute level, there must be fixed kind of a problem or there must be new or challenging problem that need to be given to the student and to the faculty member to enhance their creative ability. So convergent as well as divergent thinking skills need to be developed at institute level. So before we proceed further, if there is any question related to the session, you are requested to kindly unmute and ask. Any question from your side? Any member who would like to add something? There is another important announcement for all of you by the coordinator of this particular program, Dr. Rama Chabra ma'am. Ma'am said that tomorrow, on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan, your first session will be a task. So you all will complete task in your own time, and the STC will be started at 11:30 from the input session. But in the first session, you all are requested to complete the task assigned to all of you by Dr. Rama Chabra ma'am, and presentation of that particular activity will be organized later on. So the STC will start at 11:30. I hope this announcement is clear to everybody. So thank you very much. Yes, any question related to the discussion? So thank you very much, all of you. So we will move forward for the next part of this particular presentation. So when we said the creative and for the development of creative ability, convergent as well as divergent thinking skills as essential, and we need to follow a creative process also at the same time. So that is the preparation process, the phase of generation, incubation and elimination process. So when it comes to the preparation process, why we need to understand this? Because there are phases when it comes to the identification of the problem, and when somebody is able to find out a more creative solution for that particular problem, there are few steps the individual need to take care of. The very first one is the preparation step. Preparation means you need to think about that particular problem. The individual will reformulate that particular problem and collect information in terms of what are the essential things that I need to collect to solve this particular problem. It may be factful information, it may be the material or infrastructure resources that is required for the completion of the problem at hand. So, after identifying the problem, the individual will collect fact and material necessary for finding the solution. And in this particular phase, many a times the problem is not able to resolved. So it may be days, it may be weeks, or it may be months of the concentrated effort, but individual is not able to solve the problem at hand. So I would like to show one example of problem restructuring to all of you is, so, in the story of Thirsty Crow, the very first step, that is the problem restructuring, the problem was the crow was thirsty. So, that is the preparation in the process, creativity process, that is the preparation phase where the crow is able to identify that what actual problem is and what are the different resources. Uh, just a minute. What actual problem is and what are the different kind of resources I need to identify and collect to solve the problem at hand. Generation process, so with the help of expertise, with the help of motivation, and with the help of creative thinking skills, one is able to develop association between the different ideas and concepts related to that particular problem. In the third phase, the period during which some of the ideas that were interfering with the solutions tend to fade, and we become so irritable, or sometimes we become so ignorant that we stop thinking about that particular problem, and we kept in our mind that I am not able to solve a problem at hand. But at the same time, our unconscious memory is working on that particular problem. So it may be motivation that fall, it may be expertise that we need to develop more, but our creative thinking skill, thinking about that problem again and again in a subconscious memory, until we are not able to find the solution of that particular problem. So ultimately, we are preparing ourselves, we are collecting or we are adding supplementary information with the use of that creative thinking ability to solve a problem at hand. So that period is incubation period. And ultimately, the individual is able to find out the solution of that particular problem. Hypothetically, he or she is yet not implemented the solution, but in their mind they are able to find out the solution of that particular moment, and they are able to develop connection, subconsciously collide, and then reach the threshold of that consciousness and able to find out the solution. And after finding out the solution, the individual is able to evaluate the worth of that particular idea. If the solution is not satisfactory, the thinker will go back to the creative process from the beginning. So, evaluation at the last, the individual is able to implement that solution effectively. So, there are few phases that we need to pass for doing something new or for the development of a new project or a new product. So it will take time. So that is why we said in this particular discussion, the flexibility, autonomy in infrastructure resources, the kind of environment, the kind of personalities working together matters a lot if you want to enhance or develop creativity at institute level. So best example to understand the process of creativity is the story of Thirsty Crow. So first phase, I already shared this slide with all of you. So the crow is able to restructure the problem, and after problem restructuring, the he is able to identify, when we said na, collect fact and material that are essential to solve a problem at hand. In the second stage, he is able to find out the pebbles and think of that whether this can be a particular solution for the problem at hand or not. Then eureka moment arises when he said our water can't reach the stone, so he is able to put those pebbles in the jar earthen pot and then able to solve a problem at hand. So it is not only the reward, what the reward was to drink water. So it is not only the reward and recognition started from the problem restructuring up to the solution of the problem. We are in a constant thinking process to solve a problem at hand. Now, the next question arises when we said the creativity must be original and new, and at the same time, it must be task appropriate. So, when we said it must be task appropriate, means what are the different dimensions you are able to add to this particular term? So, it requires adaptability to that particular environment, it requires fluency. Fluency means as more your observation of the surrounding is, you are able to generate more number of ideas. So more exploration, more expertise, you are able to develop number of responses and number of ideas. So that is why group discussion, team based activities, cooperative or collaborative kind of activities need to be the part of your departmental activity. When you interact, you share information, you share knowledge with each other, you come to a single platform to solve a problem at hand. So that is adding fluency to your work environment. So it may be ideation, it may be association, or it may be expression. Fluency can be at three different levels. Second is the flexibility. Flexibility is how adaptive you are for that particular change. The ability to change the form, modify information, and shift the perspective. So, to add flexibility in a given environment is a very difficult job, but if one become flexible enough, he or she must be able to adapt the needs of that particular environment. So there may be 10 different ideas generated by a group. There may be one or two ideas that are relevant enough. I'm not going to stop that particular group for the generation of ideas. We will discuss upon that particular ideas, validate those ideas, and then come to the conclusion what are the more valuable ideas that we need to implement. So we evaluate the worth of those ideas without passing any judgment or without passing any remarks. So be adaptive of that particular environment and allow others to generate ideas, then discuss ideas among groups, evaluate those ideas, and add flexibility to that particular environment. So when there is a discussion about ideas, there is a shift in perspective of in a shift in perspective in the mind of the individual. So flexibility need to be there in an environment. Originality, how many unique ideas did somebody can generate? As you are able to develop your knowledge pool, you are able to generate number of ideas. If you are not developing information, if you are not developing your expertise in a given field, it is not possible for you to develop novel responses. So originality also need to be considered with the help of knowledge pool. Elaboration, how many details one can add. So if it is a design related problem, how many dimension one can add to a given problem. So that is the kind of elaboration that is essential. Another important thing that we need to consider is there are certain barriers to creativity also. So we also consider them as the murderer communities. So when we said murderer communities and uh, individuals, so those individuals do not evaluate the worth of those ideas and start rejecting those ideas. So there are certain myths related to these community. One is historical block, history repeat itself. So we are not able to try something new because of our past experiences. So that is also an example of a creative barrier. Biological, some of the individuals think that creative ability is a hereditary trait, but as we discussed, environment also plays an important role. So if we are able to create flexible and autonomous environment, one is able to generate new ideas. So it is not hereditary only. With the help of formal education and training, one can enhance the level of creativity. It may be physiological due to the physical ability. So there may be certain dimension or elaboration that we need to consider in terms of creative potential. So it is not only the physical ability, it is your passion and grit to complete that activity or to follow your passion. So that may need not to be considered as a barrier for the creative potential. Sociological, a society shares a set of morals and tradition, and this is characterized by the collective activities, interest, and behavior. Perceptual block, stereotyping means seeing what is familiar, isolating the problem, not thinking about the problem from the multiple dimension, delimit the problem so closely, inability to see the problem from multiple vantage point, saturation of your mind, body, or brain, failure to use all kind of senses. So these are certain perceptual blocks that affect the flow of creativity. So I'm not going into the details of these quizzes. So these are few of the puzzles that we need to solve to understand what we mean by these blocks to creativity. Another block that we need to understand is the emotional block. So today in the very first session, when you covered the topic of intelligence, you might now become aware that what is the need of the emotional intelligence. So there are certain emotional blocks also as far as creative potential is concerned. Individuals are not able to do something new. They are very fearful that they will make mistake. They are not ready to take risk. Inability to tolerate ambiguity, overriding desires for security, preferences for judging ideas rather than generating them. So, if one is not an active listener, he is not able to go to the worth of that particular idea. So, they are more into the critical listening rather than appreciative and empathetic listening. So, they are the good judge, but they are not the good masters. Inability to relax, incubate, and sleep on it, nature walks, meditation, these kind of activities help us to calm our brain, that help us to develop or generate more ideas later on. So sometimes it is good to have relaxation, sometimes it is good to sleep on it if you are not able to solve a problem at hand. Lack of challenges and problem fails to engage the interest. So, as per the IQ ability, the problems or activities were not assigned. That is why one is not able to show the creative potential. Excessive zeal or over motivation to succeed quickly. Sometimes reward and recognition system, if it is not properly designed, it will become hindrance in the development of creativity. Lack of access to the areas of imagination. So when I'm saying some sort of idea need to be created, so I must have time to develop my knowledge pool, I must have some sort of a training or expertise to develop in that particular area. Only then I'm able to imagine or visualizing something new. So if there is a lack to access to the area of imagination, one is not able to do something. Lack of imaginative control, inability to distinguish reality from the fantasy. So these are few of the emotional blocks that we need to identify and eradicate if available at departmental level. Cultural blocks also plays an important role because society always works on certain norms. So few of the cultural blocks are: playfulness is for the children only, problem solving is a serious business, reason, logic, utility, practicality are good, feeling, intuition, qualitative judgment, pleasures are bad. Tradition is preferable to change. Any problem can be solved by scientific thinking and lots of money. So these are few of the cultural sayings that are very famous and act as a barrier for the creative ability. Environmental block, lack of cooperation and trust among colleagues, autocratic boss who value only his own ideas and does not reward others, distraction, phone or cell phone is a major distraction nowadays, lack of support to bring ideas into action. So these are the part of environmental block. And there are many examples available in the literature as far as these murder committees are concerned. In 1876, It was being said by the Western Union internal memo that telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a mean of communication. This device is inherently of no value to us. Thomas was Watson, chairman of IBM in 1943. I think there is a world market for maybe only 5 computers. Drill for oil, you mean drill into ground to try and find oil? You are crazy. So, anonymous driller Advil L. Drake tried to enlist to his project to drill for oil in 1859. Heavier than air flying machines are possible. Lord Kelvin in 1895. Who the hell wants to hear actors talk? H.M. Warner, founder of Warner Brother Film Studio, 1927. So these are the murder committee or certain myths in an environment that we need to eradicate. Next is intellectual block, solving the problem. So when we said the component of creativity is the development of knowledge pool and expertise. If knowledge pool, information or expertise not available, there are certain intellectual block that affect the flow of creative ideas. So solving the problem using incorrect language. So it may be verbal, it may be mathematical, it may be visual, but this is not up to the mark of that particular personality. So when it comes to the intellectual block, the language plays an important role. And next is the expressive blocks. Foreign language convey technical thought to non-technical audiences. Lack of or incorrect information, inadequate language skill to express and record ideas. So these are expressive blocks. So at the end of this particular presentation, when we said the creative ability, so creative individuals are very sensitive enough. They are able to make certain hypotheses or educated guesses to solve a problem. They are able to identify a problem and then define that problem by considering multiple dimension. There is a flexibility and fluency in their thinking, so they are able to generate ideas, they are able to develop association between ideas, and they are able to express their ideas also. So they are flexible and spontaneous enough to deal with the change management or negotiation system at organization level. So they are flexible enough, they are able to change the focus as per the requirement of the task or requirement of the activities. Originality, they want to do something by their own, not just by taking help. Elaboration, they are solving the big chunk of the problem by dividing it into the smaller one, and one by one they are adding details to that particular problem statement. So this we already discussed the problem restructuring story. So the next arises how we are able to develop creativity. The first thing is how first is identification of a creativity. So how can we recognize creativity at departmental level, how we can teach it and how we can incorporate it into different departments and different courses. So these are the 3 different questions that we need to address. Recognizing creativity gifted. So the more sad fact is the teacher do not prefer the students with the high creative ability, because out of the blue moon they will ask a very pertinent but a complex question by nature. So they do not have much confidence to respond to that particular student maybe. So they are not very happy if an highly creative ability is available in their class in the form of the student. Success of the more creative student uh, impact this particular parameter. Next is recognizing creativity gifted means how the students are able to handle the task independently. What are the level of their curiosity and engagement? Is it at inexhaustible level? Tolerance to ambiguity in a problem definition. So if the problem is clear, they are happy. If the problem is ill structured, they are also happy to solve a problem. Willingness to take risk, persistence in pursuits of the problem solution, and patience to allow the solution to take shape in their own time. So they are following the complete creative process in this particular field. Next is observation. So it is a very nice case study that was available on YouTube, from where I have taken this particular content. They said in the 2 million years, man managed to discover only three important things, that is, the fire, the fact the wood will float, and the horse. Then, within 100 years of civilization, they came up with everything else, whether it is railways, cars, aeroplane, antibiotic, electricity, telephone, computer, or photography. So in then arrived in 1920, and everything just stopped. Mobile phones, the word processor, and Eurofighter, they all are just the development. There is no scientific discovery or the development of idea. These are the discoveries coming along from the 19th century itself. So somewhere exploration or somewhere observation to that particular environment reduces in human community, and we are not able to generate more valid ideas in an environment. What we are doing in terms of sciences, we are developing, we are not finding new principles and new theories. So for the creative ideas to develop, we need to develop knowledge. So again, it is in three different dimensions, that is cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. So the creative and innovative process need to be the part of your teaching learning environment, so that at institute level we can develop these kind of habit. So at the last, how we are able to develop creativity? Practice, practice, and practice. So practice makes perfect. Whenever you are defining tasks and activities for other, it must be target specific activity that need to be given to the student. So incorporate creativity at departmental level, encourage and upload questioning, extend the responses, create an environment of cooperation and collaboration. There must be departmental meetings in which brainstorming session must be the part of those. Look out for the solutions. It may be correct or it may be incorrect. So that show the sign of creativity. When innovative solutions, it may be correct or incorrect, are forthcoming, develop a positive kind of response so that other can also have an idea. Provide case histories of the problem solution, especially the creative one. So this is all from my side. If you have any question related to this particular topic, or you would like to add something to this, you are requested to kindly unmute and ask.